Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today, I'm going to be doing a tarot scope for the sign of Sagittarius for the month of July 2021. It was suggested to me to do this by Marianne of Revealing Light, and she is a Sag, so here's your reading, Marianne. So we're going to start with an oracle deck, and then I'm going to do a card reading. So I'm going to use the Power Animal Oracle cards by Stephen Farmer. He used to be married to Diane Virtue. I do not think they are still married, however. So we're going to just pick 3 cards from this. And I chose this oracle deck because Sagittarius is a sign that is connected to the natural world. It actually rules the wild places, And certainly the natural world is giving us a lot of information. Some of it a little, disturbing, but it's out there. So let's see what the Animal Oracle has to say for Sagittarius for the month of July. Now, Sagittarius is a Jupiter-ruled sign. As July begins, Jupiter is in Pisces. One of the signs, Pisces actually rules Sagittarius. No, Jupiter actually rules Sagittarius and Pisces. But it's a co-ruler of Pisces. And it is all about expansion. Both Sagittarius and Pisces are mutable signs. So there's a mutability to Sagittarius, a changeability to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the great teacher of the zodiac, the great philosopher. Sagittarius is all about finding meaning. And there's enough stuff out here going on that, will require us to figure things out, right? We have Porcupine, which is innocence. It says, free yourself of guilt and shame. Sagittarius is about beliefs. It can be the beliefs that you have about yourself. The south node of the moon is in Sagittarius. What beliefs do you have about yourself? What guilt and shame do you have about yourself that you need to let go of so that you can move into the future unencumbered by those things? The South Node in Sagittarius also holds many treasures. What knowledge have you brought forth? What knowledge can you bring forth from your experience? Sagittarius is all about knowledge gained through experience. We have the Bear. Stand your ground. This is about boundaries. So and interestingly enough, if I saw either of these animals in the wild, I would give them a wide berth. Preferably the bear, I'd give them a berth from like a couple of miles away, but certainly the porcupine, although they're awful cute, you don't want a porcupine pissed off at you. Okay, what else do we have to see? What else does Sagittarius need to be aware of in July? Purification. Clear out the clutter. So, Sagittarius, you're being required to revel in your innocence, let go of any guilt and shame, sort of go back to being the child, stand your ground, have firm and healthy boundaries, and of course, we need to purify. We need to purify ourselves. So, clear out the clutter. Perhaps you have, you're like, this probably needs a little clearing out, right? I'm not a Sag, but we could all benefit from all of these readings, really. But, clear out your space. If not, if your space is fine, then what about your body? Do you need to purify your body? Do you need to do a purification? Do you need to do an intermittent fasting? Do you need to maybe do a juice cleanse? You know, something like that. Purify, purify, purify. Um, because you are preparing yourself for something. And let's see what the cards have to say about that. So I am using a tarot deck that was developed by Rachel Pollack. Rachel Pollack wrote one of my favorite tarot books called 78 Degrees of Wisdom. A beautiful, beautiful book. She has a number of um, decks out there. This one is called the Shining Woman Tarot, but its name's been changed, I think, to the Shining Tribe Tarot. But it's a interesting book. It almost looks a deck. It almost looks Aboriginal in its okay. So let's see. Sagittarius. What does Sagittarius need to be aware of at this time? What does Sagittarius need to be aware of in July of 2021? What advice do you have, Spirit? What advice from the cards do we have? Just give me a minute because I feel like this needs a good shuffle. And as I'm doing this, there's a hummingbird like buzzing around just outside my window. So hummingbird is about joy, right? It's about joy. But the hummingbird is also, it's pretty aggressive. It's little and mighty, as I say. And so there's that healthy boundaries. In fact, birds, oftentimes the songs that you hear birds sing, you think that, oh, they're singing a song, how lovely. A lot of times that's territorial stuff. Sometimes it's alarm. Sometimes it's just telling the other birds that my nest is here and you better stay away. So again, there's this energy of boundaries. There's a red squirrel on my bird feeder. I know, shock, right? I have one of those things that you put over it so that they can't get to it. They can get to it. One of my watchers said, "Oh, give them 3 days. Usually within 3 days, the squirrels figure out any kind of squirrel proofing that you can do." And for sure, but it does slow them down. I was going through a lot of feeding the squirrels, and you know, I have chitterbugs out there, so I don't mind feeding squirrels, but you gotta put a boundary up, right, Sag? Immediate environment. The 8 of birds. Oops, sorry. The 8 of birds. There is a volcano. There is things below the surface that are starting to come up. Perhaps they're memories, perhaps they're thoughts, that have been, we could say, festering for a while now. Let's see the crossing card. The 9, the Hermit. The Hermit. Let me continue. Let's see what's at the root. The Sun. Illumination. Illumination. So there are things that need to be expressed, and it can be words of anger, or if not words of anger, just speaking the truth out there with a lot of energy behind it. Energy that has been smoldering for a long time. The dark places have been illuminated. The sun has illuminated. It is time for a new path. The 19-1 is about a new path. Now, the challenge of the Hermit is not to, well, I think there's two challenges here, and it can work either way or both ways at the same time. The Hermit speaks of wisdom. How can you express yourself? Eight of birds. How can you express yourself with wisdom? Not letting this get out of hand. The other part of the Hermit is wanting to hermit away, wanting to hide from it. There's no hiding because the sun is at the root and all is being illuminated. You know, the sun, the brighter the sun, the darker the shadow. And the darker the shadow, the closer. So our shadow is very close, but our shadow is our teacher, and our shadow is us. We cast a shadow because we're on planet Earth. And we have to claim our shadow. Let's see what's in the past. The gift of birds. The gift of birds. So this is the gift of voice. This is the gift of finding your voice and singing your song and flying your freak flag, girls and guys. This is being you and stating, this is who I am, this is who I am not, this is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept in the past. Let's see what's in the sky. The Eight of Trees, flying above it all. Look at you. This card speaks to me of look at the house on fire. You see that? The house is on fire. Whoops. The house is on fire. And you are rising above it. You are rising above your troubles. And you're getting perspective. You're seeing the value of that which you've had to rise above. You know, Sagittarius is a relatively optimistic sign, but we have to remember that in the zodiac, right? Sagittarius is after Scorpio. A lot of the optimism that comes from Sagittarius is the fact that they have made it through the Scorpio experience. And in that, getting through that Scorpio experience, they gain knowledge and they search for meaning, because suffering is not meaningless. Everything that we experience, there is a reason and a season and something that we need to understand about ourselves. And this is one of the strengths of Sagittarius. That's why they're such great teachers. In the immediate future, we have the Speaker of Rivers. This is about speaking your truth. This is about speaking from your heart. You see the river is flowing with the fish and somebody's beautiful dress. Is it time to don this beautiful dress? Is it time to fish it out of the river? This is about flow. This is about flow. And it's interesting because in this card we have sort of a cityscape on one side and we have sort of a natural spot on the other with this cup, glowing cup. And this is a coat of many colors, and the fish are all different. One of the things that Sagittarius does is and is interested in is how other people live, right? Sagittarius are great travelers. They're very culturally aware. And this speaker of rivers is really about speaking your voice, but of healing. So there's a lot of having to speak up with this. Speak up about your anger, speak up about what you're willing to accept in your life and not, as the roots are illuminated by the sun. How it's seen from other outside, you're changing. Some people will like it and some people will not. Your domestic situation. Speaker of trees. Boy, there's a lot of talking. We have the speaker of rivers. We have the speaker of trees. This card speaks to me of families and the family tree, identifying identifying the issues within the family. Some of them are what's the word I'm looking for? Some come through the line, right? You know, seeing the connections. Just because you're from a family doesn't mean that you need to continue to marinate in the trauma of the family. As you heal as an individual, you heal your family line. So when we see this river running with all these fish in this beautiful dress through the landscape, this healing, this may be you. This may be you in this beautiful multicolored dress. But this is your family coming along for the ride. So any healing that you do for your family as well. Hopes and fears. Two of birds. This is sort of agreeing to disagree, not necessarily seeing face to this is sort of agreeing to disagree, but you can see that at the foot we have the snake that connects us. So even if we don't see the same thing as other people see, we're still connected. We're still connected through spirit. Justice. Justice. Justice, balance will be attained. Balance will be attained. And underneath we have the knower of stones, the knower of rivers, and the emperor. This is, underneath it all, is an understanding of what it takes to manifest, what it takes to heal, and what it takes to rule, to have dominion over your life, to be empowered from a place of knowledge, not power over, power within. Wow. Intense, guys. Intense. Well, you're on the path. You're on the path, and people are going to hear it. They're going to know it. And will they understand it? They may. They may not. But the important part is that you said it. The important part is that you spoke your truth. You relayed your experiences. You're not going to take it anymore. You're going to let it go. You're going to heal it. You're not going to live from your wounds. You're going to evaluate them. You're going to see them. You're going to evaluate them. You're going to heal them. You're going to let them go. And you're going to move on into a more integrated and whole person. wise because of the experiences that you've had. We don't go through anything for no reason at all. And Sag is great at finding the meaning in that. Thank you, Sagittarius. I love having Sagittarius in my life. They're always fun and generally wise. And sometimes blunt. Sometimes you need a blunt instrument to get the job done. All right, guys. Have yourself a great month. Much love. Like and subscribe. I love you all very much. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Take care. See you next month.